Welcome to the Horror Friendly Podcast.
It's not over till that bitch is dead.
Let's delve into that a bit deeper.
I'm going to be like the peacekeeper between you two tonight.
Don't fuck with the original.
Yeah, don't fuck with the original.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Horror Friendly Podcast, part of the You Run Podcast Network. My name is Katie, and I am joined by Charlie and Chantal. Hey, guys.
Ooh.
Hey.
Hello.
How are we both?
Good, thanks. How are you?
All right.
How are you, Charlie?
I'm all right.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I'm okay, thank you. Oh, I do look naked though, so apologies to YouTube. I am actually covered down to my ankles.
It is funny. You do look like you're on holiday and there's sun in the background, and me and Katie are both in like hoodies.
Yeah.
We're clearly having very different summers in our three different locations.
Little microclimates across the UK.
Yeah, oh my God, tell me about it. But yes, shall we well, not so much UK. We're going all the way to Australia this week. Shall we start on this film?
Let's do it.
Okay, so let's go straight into it. This week, we have decided to cover the 2019, I believe, Little Monsters. Dave, a washed-up musician recovering from a bad breakup, is attracted to his nephew's teacher, Miss Caroline. However, his plans to woo her are interrupted by a sudden invasion of zombies. Don't you hate that?
Hate when that happens.
You're trying to hit on someone and zombies get in the way. Like, it's so irritating.
Yeah, it's so annoying. It happens to me all the time.
First time watching this? Charlie, I'll come to you first.
No, this is probably like my 6th or 7th. This is like a comfort film now for me. Yeah, I think it's a nice, easy watch. It's like heartwarming and funny at the same time. I'm not really a comedy movie type person, but I feel like this works because it's still got that element of, I mean, zombies for a start, but like there's still something else to it that sort of pulls through. And obviously, like having a young child myself, I can sort of relate to what it must be going through those kids' minds, because I mean, yeah, it's a nice, easy watch. I enjoy this film quite a bit. How about you, Katie?
Yeah, I like it. I've only seen it once before. I think it was on Sky Movies or something, and it had Lupita in it, who I love. So Queen behavior. So I thought I'd watch it. Yeah. But yeah, it's so good. I forgot how like funny it is as well. And yeah, there's just so many good bits in it. I really enjoy this film. I think I can see why like you have watched it so many times, because like it is a bit like a comfort film because it's so funny and it's like quite a nice little ending as well, and it's kind of wholesome in parts. So yeah. What about you, Tal? Was it your first time?
This was my first time. I'd never even heard of this, which was so funny. And then obviously the cover is Miss Caroline, like with the ukulele. So when it opens and it's just Dave and his ex screaming bloody murder at each other, I was like, okay, something's obviously going to happen, because Miss Caroline, like, or obviously I didn't know her name at the time. I was like, but that's not the actress on the front cover of the film. But yeah, it was genuinely like almost heartwarming, which is such a weird word to use for a zombie film. But it was just really sweet. And again, like, as you said, Charlie, like having worked around children, I can fucking some of the shit we've had to like, oh, I've got to distract the kids because XYZ is happening. Like, I can't imagine having to distract them because zombies are there. But it is just so funny that you can see that she does so well. Like, she needs a fucking raise. I don't know what they're paying her, but it is not enough. We've lost Katie, but she'll be back in a second. I love that opening though. Again, I just love that it throws you straight in. What did it remind me of? There's another film we've covered. Fuck, I can't even think. But it's just like it opens with just absolute chaos. And then like the music and like the what's going on around doesn't match. And I just love when they're like at the dinner and the birthday cake comes out and the guy's like, no, now is not the time. Like, I don't know. I just thought that was such a good way to open a film. Just chaos. Loved it.
Straight in there with the action, but not the action that you expected.
Well, I knew there was going to be zombies, but I was like, okay, we're just watching a breakup. Like, but yeah, it was a good it was a great opening.
Cool.
I think everyone's been in those like relationships where you are just like shouting at each other. So I think you can like everything else in this film you can't relate to because it's all about a zombie apocalypse, but you can that beginning bit.
It is literally that, yeah, where it's like, that looks familiar.
Yeah.
I thought you were dog sitting for a second. I thought you just had a dog walking in the background.
You calling my mum a dog?
No, I love Caroline. Hi. Yeah, no, that beginning bit's just really funny because it is just carnage.
Yeah.
Like,
A different kind of carnage.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think it's not like two different films, but there are very different kind of themes as it goes out. Not themes, themes are the wrong word. But like because even the school scenes are like nothing compared to what's coming. So everything's just building, I guess.
Yeah.
Is a better word than
building up.
Do you feel like the themes flow like quite well into each other, or do you feel like it's quite forced?
I think it flows quite well. I think it's quite funny when they get to like the army bit, and it's suddenly like, what the fuck is happening here? And it's almost like Cabin in the Woods, where it's just that sort of facility. But again, it was necessary, so I don't think it was like forced. I think it was just a bit like, up until that point, you could have just been watching a rom-com. So like that was the turning point, but I don't think it was forced. What about you, Katie?
No, I didn't see it as forced. I thought like I can't remember if we find out like what caused it.
No,
I don't think we do. I think
so.
It just happens.
Just whatever was at that.
We need a prequel.
Yeah, like what the fuck happened? Because everyone else like seemed to be safe. It was just on this like children's farm thing that like most of them were. So there must have been
next door to the testing center, whatever it was.
Oh yeah, so we don't know exactly what happened.
To be fair, in a zombie outbreak, that would probably be the worst place for a human to be, but the best place for the zombies to end up because they'll all just eat the animals first. So it gives the humans a bit of a warning, I guess. Sorry, animals, you're taking one for the team here.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I think it flowed quite nicely. Because some people were like quite critical of the film, like saying like a lot of like the script didn't really like a lot of the actors were wasted and the script didn't really hit, and I just didn't feel that way at all. I thought it was a really funny script. I think everyone in it was quite funny. Like yeah, I don't really get the criticism of this film. Like I don't really. What's there not to like?
I feel like in that sense, I feel like people probably be wanting a bit more from a zombie movie than what is offered. But I mean, like it is a nice mashup of, I guess, rom-com, sci-fi, zombie, apocalypse.
I don't really know, like when you say like, oh, the actors weren't, I forgot the word you used, sorry, Katie. But like, oh yeah, the script didn't really help the actors. And I was like, well, what more? Again, this only takes place really over a day and a night. Like, what more do you want from them, really? Like
more suffering for Mr. Tumble. I know it's not Mr. Tumble, but more suffering for that character.
But he
I love that character.
But again, like yes, but it's also almost like, again, it's like an intro horror, isn't it? Like you could show this to a kid because it is more about the kids than it is. It's not a gore fest. It's not a.
There's quite a lot of bad language.
There's a lot of bad language, actually. Yeah, maybe you shouldn't show this to your kids.
It's when like Mr. Giggles. It's when Mr. Giggles like tries to come up with a plan to escape, And the guy's like, what's the McGigglemobile? And he's like, it's a red van, you fucking cunt. It's like, so unnecessary.
It's so Australian.
He's so angry. Like,
Who swears
calm
more? Who swears more, us or this film?
Yeah, I
Mr.
don't know.
McGiggle.
I think there'll be I think it might be a draw.
It might be. Like, yes, there was a lot. I actually did think I was swearing. But also it's funny because obviously
Just drops the C-bomb.
several
Okay.
times. It's the fact that like even when the kids are there, he doesn't think, oh, I should stop swearing.
He doesn't give a
Because-
shit.
Like I'm aware
He's
it's a
locked
zombie.
out.
I'm aware it's a zombie apocalypse. I'm aware he's stressed. But again, like the kids actually don't know what's going on. So like you
He's
have
shagged
to,
all the mums.
he's
He
shagged
doesn't
all their
care.
mums. He doesn't give a fuck. But like that's it. Like you're trying to keep the kids calm because if oh my god, can you imagine if all those kids start freaking out, like the little one does when he I want to play putt putt. Can you imagine if all of them started screaming like that? Like that would be so much worse.
Can I say that kid was one of my favorites? The one that just shouted the entire time.
I
Like,
fucking hated him. I was like, I was like, consequences for your actions. But I did love him on the back of the tractor doing the little
yeah.
whack-a-mole for the zombies. That really cracked me up. But again, it showed that it worked. He didn't have a clue what was happening. He couldn't understand why he couldn't play putt-putt. But also, you can tell it's the most Australian film because they don't give a fuck about the fact they made fat jokes about a kid several times throughout the film. And I was like, well, you could tell that's the Australian sense of humour there.
yeah. Yeah, they don't give a shit.
I said the soldier picked him up at the end and was like, oh my God. I was like, really? Oh, anyway, yeah. I was like, he's still a child. He doesn't weigh that much. Like, fuck
Yeah.
hell.
And like the I can't believe I can't remember what the main guy's name is, but when
Dave.
Dave, when he takes his
Dave-o.
nephew to school,
Felix, yeah.
Felix to school, and then he's like, oh, you're bagging all the puss, because like all the little girls are like greeting him, and I'm just like, that's so inappropriate and gross.
But he was a very inappropriate uncle. Let's be
Yeah,
honest.
very. Yeah.
Like, he did crap me up because it was that like relationship, and you're like, no wonder his sister or the kid's mum was getting like fucking stressed
Mm.
because like this is not a role model. Like this is not.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
I mean, I'm due to be an auntie soon, and like maybe I need to take a few tips
yeah.
off of Dave.
Yeah, make sure your
Maybe
niece or-
not.
Make sure your niece or nephew's getting that puss like on the
Oh,
playground.
God.
It's so bad, isn't it? Like you'd never do that. You're like, oh no, it's weird. It's so
Yeah.
weird.
It's so weird. It's such a weird film.
It's,
But
but
I
it's
do love
all
how
of
he
it.
ended up on that trip just because
He
he
had a
wanted
crush.
to get with the teacher.
Yeah.
Well, same as McGiggles. What they've got in common, they're just trying to bang everyone.
I'm sorry, but like I can't blame him. Like I have such a big crush on her. Like I would go
Yes.
on a school trip to hang out with her.
Yeah, but also like, why was there no DBS check? Was there no?
Yeah, I know.
Like, he literally just agreed, and they went sure. Also, he just turned up with Felix and went, "Oh, I'm his uncle." She took him at his word. I was like, "You're not going to check with
Yeah.
his mom?" Like, there was a lot of things that only work in a film to make that happen. It's like you did no checks on this guy. Also, why is he always carrying his guitar around?
He's a
Um,
rock star.
Yeah, but why is he taking
He's
it to
a
a
rock
petting
star.
zoo?
He's a rock star. He's that's what he
Great,
does.
but there's pictures of James Hetfield not carrying a guitar. Like Tony Hawk doesn't always carry a skateboard. Like it has to happen, and it's like he's at a petting zoo with a
How do you
fucking
know?
guitar on his back because I've seen photographic evidence.
Okay.
I've seen photos of them without their
What-
stuff because they're not
what you don't see is
full-time.
there's a guy about 10 foot behind Tony Hawk
Carrying
just
it all,
running
yeah.
along with his
Yeah.
skateboard
Carrying-
just in case.
Wait for me.
wait up. But you know what I mean? Like it just cracked me up. I was like, I understand he's a rock star and he's trying to make that his thing, but he's at a petting zoo. Leave it on the bus. Like I love as well. I do love Felix though, because like teaching him how to drive the tractor.
Yeah, that was so cute. That was such a wholesome moment.
The clutch is on
Dressed
the
up as
left.
Darth Vader.
Oh, I meant the bit of it like earlier, but yeah, when he's with Darth
Oh.
Vader as well. And he has to teach him the first time round.
One of my favorite bits is when he's dressed up as Darth Vader and they go to his ex-girlfriend's house.
Oh my
Mhm.
god. It's
I
the-
see I
oh.
see you signaling there, Tel, but that's another really good moment with Felix when like the gate actually does close.
Yeah, did I miss something? What closed that? Did a zombie like walk into it, or did they just add that in for kicks?
It was automatic, wasn't it?
I don't know.
I like to think it
was
was
funny.
Felix.
I like to think it was Felix, but I was just like, I love the fact they added it in, but I was like, what happened? Was there a reason it shut, or was it just cute?
I do love the pop culture like references throughout the
Mm.
movie. There's loads of them just dotted around, and like even down to Mr. Giggles. I mean, like I think we all like can relate to at least one child entertainer within our lifetime. That is that guy that's gone down for Pan.
Probably. I just really bad at naming them.
Oh my god, there's so many from like the 90s
I
and
know,
like early
but
2000s.
My brain's gone blank. I think the thing was when we were like
Mr. Blobby.
I was thinking Mr. Blobby, but like he hasn't gone down because no one actually knows who Mr. Blobby is. Yeah, no one knows who's in the
I mean,
scene.
Noel Edmonds. Let's go and find out. Well,
Yeah.
I guess I don't
Yeah,
know. Michael
really.
Barrymore. He had a bit of a rough tumble.
Yeah.
Although
Oh,
he seems
yeah,
to
he
be doing
did.
all right on TikTok again. He's got
I
a
was like,
big old following over there.
In my head
That's
when I was trying
mental.
to think of like kids
That is
shows.
mental.
Yeah, I just kept thinking of like cartoons, and I was like, I think they're all doing okay technically.
I don't know if you ever watched back on some of them, they're a bit questionable, but
But again, I mean, like, I don't know. I think again, a lot of those jokes just go over your head when you're a kid, so it's fine. Much like Felix, like again, it's the callback when it's like, "What's a douchebag?"
What's a douchebag? It's a small bag that ladies use to irrigate their vaginas.
It's a thing that and the teacher's just there like, "Oh fuck."
here we go.
I think that's so funny, and it's like again, it's those callbacks, like, and then yeah, like you say, when he walks in on his ex-aunt having sex, and then just tells his mum like, Auntie Sarah was naked.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I do like that. Where they just
There
kind of
were-
his innocence.
Yeah, there was a lot of funny moments in this
Mm.
film. Like even one of my favorite bits was when Dave walks in and then obviously gets introduced to Miss Caroline, and then like he like slams some kid into a door or something, and it's the really loud kid. That was one of my favorite bits.
Shouted at Felix. He was like, no. It was. It's when they're walking across the playground and they're all just shouting at him like about broccoli. And I was like, poor Felix. And then like he's like, hang on, even the kid on the crutches is taking the piss out of you. He's like, he's got cerebral palsy. I was like, Felix is the sweetest kid. Like
So
he doesn't,
sweet.
he's like, treat everyone the same, but he gets absolute bullied for having an allergy.
Mm.
Fuck.
I guess like some of the go back to some of the criticisms of it. There's the one
Yeah.
you sort of like one I would agree with is like Dave's character. Like he is the complete like moron at the beginning, and then it just kind of like completely changes halfway through because obviously you've got that Mr. McGiggles coming in who's a complete douchebag
Yeah,
and like kind
he's
of
the other
trumps
way.
him, but like Dave's character kind of almost takes like a step back. So I do kind of get that maybe it's not like Dave doesn't really have like a redemption arc. He just kind of becomes good for no. I mean, he becomes good because like he starts to bond with Felix and like Miss Caroline and stuff. But like, it's like suddenly it's gone from like 0 to 100. Sorry, from like 100 to 0, where like he was a complete douchebag at the beginning, and now it's like nothing. So that's the only one like I would agree with. It's sort of not very consistent.
I do agree, but I also think for me the major change happened when he nearly killed Felix.
Yeah.
With the allergy. Because again, oh my god, as soon as I saw him holding the EpiPen, I was like, he's fucked it. He just was holding it wrong, doing it all wrong. I was like, fuck's sake. But I think it was that where it was sudden. I think that was when it occurred to him, like, because obviously he knew the zombies were a problem. But I think he was like, oh, we'll survive, and very laid back about it. And then he's like, oh, fuck, I've nearly just killed my nephew over Chris.
Yeah.
I think that was when he was like, right, I actually need to start trying. And yes, I do know what you mean, though, because it's like you don't just magically become this great person. Maybe you do in that dramatic a situation, but it seems like a stretch. Like I'd have almost rathered in that bubble at the end when the kids, and he was just like, will you stop being dicks, would have been more in character. Like,
yeah. I feel like it just kind of
Rather than
just
sat down
suddenly
singing.
like it was sweet, but it was also kind of like, oh, like for the first sort of like half an hour of the film, he was like the funny, really inappropriate guy. And then as soon as Mr. McGiggles turned up, like that just kind of stopped. So that would be my only criticism of it, I think, is like it was suddenly like, oh, okay, Dave's just like fine now. And then I think him like comically took a back step and like the others kind of came forward a bit. But that's not necessarily anything wrong with that, but it's just like it's not really like consistent.
You can only have one dickhead guy at a time. And
Yeah,
Mr. Giggles was
yeah,
on screen.
exactly. But I suppose they found someone that like trumps Dave as a dickhead. Like,
Well, maybe that
he
was
was the
it.
biggest dick like ever.
Maybe that was it. Maybe he was watching Mr. Giggles and he was like, or McGiggles, and was like,
I need to
"You're
change."
Yeah, like no, like this is not. And then you sort of realize it in yourself. I don't know, maybe.
Maybe.
But I did like as well that like Miss Caroline was always this like, oh, perfect person. And then she's like, I'm gonna go give Mr. Giggles a cuddle. Fucking and like again, like she had that other side to her as well. It's just that obviously that the kids weren't going to see that, but it was like that need to survive. I'll fucking stab you with a seashell if I need to. And I was like, she's a good one.
Yeah. And then like talks to Dave about like her past and how she like broke into someone from Hanson's hotel room.
Yeah.
And that's the reason she's here now.
Oh, we've all been there.
yeah, we've all done that. We've all gone a bit crazy for a
for a guy in a band.
Yeah, who doesn't? We've been there, Tell.
One bit I did really love actually was the army when they're like, oh no, it's zombies. What type of zombies? And they're like slow ones. And it was just that kind of like, oh well, thank God. And it was like, I'm sorry, have you had to deal with this before? Like
that's so relatable though, because I feel like would that not be everyone's question? Like, how fast can they run? Are they 28 weeks later, or are they Shaun of the Dead? Yeah.
I found out the other day as well, there is a type of zombie. I think it was because then you got like the Romero zombies. So I think it was kind of like pre that, where it was almost in where people would raise the dead and use them for their bidding. So again, we have seen this in like some horrors and some TV shows, but I probably would have thought of them more as like undead rather than zombies. But there is like that kind of so you get them to kind of do your bidding for you, and I was like, that'd be quite
like Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah, a little bit, but it
rather
was a bit
than
more
infection.
Yeah, I'd say so. Rather, it was a bit more. Yeah, so they could go kill for you, they could clean for you, rather than biting each other.
That's what I need. I need a zombie maid.
Literally, like the end of Shaun of the Dead, where they're all just chained up and put to work.
And they're on like game shows and stuff.
I love him. He's my boyfriend. He's like Jeremy Kyle.
Oh, and Trisha.
Trisha.
Who's the daddy?
But yeah, so I really liked that. And then the army guys, to be fair, were great. Like, because then when it was like the tractor at the end, like the slow's like, can you hear singing? And like they were so ready to shoot the two of them. And then they're like, hang on, did he say kids? We can't do that. It's against protocol. And it just completely changed everything. That really crapped me up. Fair. They have a moral compass.
Yeah, because I was fully expecting there to be like a shootout where like they have to like duck and like run away from the bullets. But yeah, luckily.
Plot twist.
Yeah. But it was, the ending anyway was fucking funny because like they go past the army and it's nice, like, oh, kids, everything's okay, we're saved. And then they're just like shooting relentlessly at these like zombies, but like also people, also school kids that have turned into, and it's like, like they're trying to like hide the kids from hide it away from them.
That's the funny thing, is there is zombie kids like in this film. I just, oh look, children, fireworks, and it's just people being slaughtered. Was it just me though? But when they were like, if you're happy and you know it, clap your hands, and the zombies started joining in, was I the only one who was like, why don't you do like, if you're happy and you know it, fall on the floor, and like get them to fall over, turn around,
clever.
Run away, like
fuck off,
cunt.
Just that cunt in there as well.
Yeah, if you're happy and you know it, fuck off, cunt. But I was like, get the kids to like lay on the floor so the zombies copy. And I was like, they, just don't tell them to get up again. I don't know if it would have worked. But I was like, but if the front lot go down, the rest will trip. Like, they will slow them down.
See, you should have been on that.
I should have been on the tractor.
Should have been on the tractor with them. You should have been Miss.
Activity lead.
Well, you know, this
We'll
is
cut
it.
that
Like,
out. Sorry.
that's right.
I'm so sorry.
Miss Horror Friendly Podcast.
Miss Horror Friendly Podcast. Yeah.
Just casually
Not
there.
your surname, which I just blurted out, which none of you are going to hear. So don't worry about that.
But yeah, no, I love that whole bit where it's just like tractor and really slow zombies, like bird's eye view, really crap me up. I was like, but again, like
Yeah.
every angle they looked at a different distance. So I was like, not perfectly executed, but I still kind of love it.
Yeah. But so did you guys like Miss Caroline as well? Like, yeah.
I mean, Lupita,
She was awesome.
like she is a great actress, and I feel like maybe not recently, but she was definitely dominating horror for a brief amount of time recently. And I think it's nice as well to have like a new face of horror. Obviously, she's female, she's black, so it's something different that's sort of taken over the genre, which was always black person dies first. Women tend to not. Obviously, you get a final girl, but it's normally like a white blonde haired girl.
I think what was nice as well was, again, I'm going to say typically, because I was going to say not so much now, but actually still now, if black people are cast in horrors or movies in general, as you say, Charlie, it tends to be to die first, or it's something specific to do with race, or actually her race had absolutely nothing to do with it in this film. She was just a character, and I kind of loved that, because rather than, oh, look, we've actually hired a black person, it was just she was a good actress. And she was a ukulele player, and do you know what I mean? It just had nothing to do with it, which was refreshing to actually see and be like, cool, she's just doing the job and fucking killing it. I was actually just looking up what else she's in, because you're right, she was in Us. She's in A Quiet Place Day One.
Yeah.
So
I say she was dominating for a while. She's obviously still dominating.
Yeah. She's done some other really big films like Black Panther, but those are the horrors that I was pointing out.
Yeah.
No, that's really cool.
Yeah, she's such a good actor.
Yeah, she really is.
Yeah, I hope we see kind of more horror from her, because it really suits her, and she's just so good at it that she just needs to do more of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was awesome, and I love how like lovely and yellow her dress was, and then just progressively throughout the film it just gets more like fucked and ruined.
I got caught in a jam fight.
Yeah,
like,
don't eat it.
don't eat it. It was just like she pulled something off as that. I was like, she's fucking brilliant. Like, no, she really did crack me up. But also she was believable as that, like as a teacher, as like a caring person, putting the kids first. And it's like the military again at the end in the bubble, like, oh, you should be really grateful for the teacher and Dave. And you just see them and the parents were all just there. And I was like, she is getting, like, I don't know if the parents do like the end of year summer holidays gift. Like, she is getting a fucking, I don't know, a horse. Like, she just saved their kids' lives, like all of them. Like, yeah. And they're not going to come away with too much trauma. Like,
A golden ukulele.
oh, honestly, she deserves everything. I'm just looking up some like behind the scenes facts, because I do wonder how it was. I didn't have a lot of time to look it up. I do wonder how it was having that many kids on set as well, because I imagine they had quite a bit of fun, like, so obviously they had each other, but I do imagine it was probably long days and a lot for them. I did wonder if at the end those parents that come and have a look, if the majority of them were actually just parents, because you wouldn't have needed like full-time actors, because they were only in like a minor amount of the film.
That's true.
I know as well, with like under 18s, there's only like a certain amount of hours that they can work.
Yeah.
So they
and their parents have to be on set as well anyway. So originally the producers couldn't get the rights to use Taylor Swift's Shake It Off in the film, as they were denied by the record label. But Lupita is a big fan of the song and saw it as a pivotal part of the screenplay, which led to her personally getting in touch with Swift. So she explained why it was so important to the narrative, and Swift granted her the rights.
Nice.
So not only is she a badass on camera, she was like, I've got this, guys.
She's coming through.
She's in her Swiftie era.
I have so many questions about the next bit though, because it says the film is dedicated to Abe Forsyth's son Spike, whose first day at kindergarten inspired parts of the story. What the fuck happened to that kid's
Nut allergy.
kindergarten?
It's got to be a nut allergy.
It's got to be a nut. Maybe they went to a petting farm. Like I'm assuming there
Oh,
was.
not on a
zombies.
fest.
But that's what I was thinking. I was like, surely you wouldn't do that first day, but he does also appear in the film as one of the school kid zombies.
Oh,
So that's pretty cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah. I mean, fuck it. If you can do it, why wouldn't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I did kind of like the cute backstory of Dave and his sister as well. And like when he's on the phone to her, like apologizing and stuff. And then at the end, you see like his sister looking at them. That was quite a cute little, I don't know, some people might think that was a bit pointless because there was so much going on anyway, but I did quite like that.
I think it was nice for the when Felix, and I forget Felix's little girlfriend's name, when she couldn't sleep, so they sang the song together.
Yeah.
And I was like, again, like you say, like you didn't need the backstory, but I think it was good. It also, I kind of think it's one of those typical things, isn't it? It's like you can excuse the asshole if you know why he's an asshole. But actually, again, like he's grown up very quickly in these 24 hours, because it's like, well, actually, you're just an asshole. Like your past, actually, you need to deal with it. I say this a lot. It's no one else's problem, dude. Come on, Dave. You got to fix your own shit.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And then yeah, so he kind of deals with it, but realizes he can help this kid like get to sleep, and it was just like really cute that moment. I was like,
That is cute.
I can't find
what do we make of the death of Mr. Giggles?
Oh, so well deserved. Like I love as well that it was the sock puppet man that did it. Just because as well, like by that point they were like, we've got a plan and we're going to go and do it, and then he screwed him over at the last second. I was like, you fucking deserve that.
Yeah, because he was still being a dick, and you're like, oh yeah, but he's being a dick, but he's kind of like he's still gonna like
He's still
stick
gonna
to
help
the
them.
plan.
Yeah.
And then
And then he doesn't.
yeah, and then even when he's dying, he's like to Dave, I hope you die.
But it's like, help
there
me,
is
help
no
me.
redemption.
But he started begging for help. I'm like, you've just locked this guy out, surrounded by zombies, and now you're begging for help. Like, fuck you. Like,
Because Dave already saved him earlier on.
Twice, at least once. But
Yeah.
like, come on, dude. Yeah, he deserved that. Traumatizing
Fully
for the children,
deserved.
but fully deserved.
Yeah, it was quite a violent death as well, and I thought like it was quite good because we hadn't seen loads of gore, so it was quite fun to see such a violent death. Maybe a lot of the budget went into his death.
Maybe.
Like, let's throw all the money at this Josh Gad. We haven't got him for long. He's expensive. He's just been Olaf. Come on.
So we just really need to fuck him up now. No, I do think it was good.
He was very funny in it, I must admit. It's when he's so angry at the end, I literally was like crying with laughter because he was so unnecessarily angry.
He's funny as well because I haven't seen him in loads, but I think he's one of those actors who tends to get maybe typecast, and he's like, so he only really plays like, oh, the funny guy. So I think this was actually really cool to kind of see a completely different side to him.
Yeah.
And like he wasn't just the kids entertainer, like there was a whole dark side.
Yeah.
So I did kind of love that.
Yeah,
Someone's
he
going
was
to
just
correct
so
me.
sweary and so
Yeah.
like explicit with like how he would be shagging these mums.
I fucked your mom. I fucked your mom.
Someone's going to correct me and be like, watch this film, he's like a proper psychopath in it. But like, I apologize, I've not seen any of those yet.
But yeah, it was funny hearing Olaf say cunt. I will admit.
That's the thing, because it's his voice. Like, there's no change. It's just Olaf saying cunt.
You can even kind of see it at the beginning when like he goes, oh, who's that lady over there, and like points to Miss Caroline and gets her to come up. Like you can tell that like
What he's going to be
maybe
like.
yeah, like maybe it's because I've seen it before, but it's like, oh, he obviously just fancies her, that's why he's like coming,
Yeah.
he's bringing her up.
It's, yeah. oldest trick, isn't it? It's like,
Yeah.
oh, and it's like, no,
Oh, yeah.
get the kids to cheer, then you have to do it. And it's like, oh yeah, bastard.
Oh yeah, and then they were talking about like how pretty she is or something. It's
Mm.
like, oh, you're being creepy now.
Yeah, literally, it's like, yeah, no, you've gone too far. Like, stop.
Stop it.
But to be fair as well, it's like that whole beginning was the kid's best day ever. Like, you imagine going on a school trip and then like your favorite celebrity being there as well.
Yeah.
Like, what a day out. And then it all changed very quickly.
It all changed very quickly.
But yeah, I haven't got much more to add to this one, unfortunately. I do want to go and find some of these reviews where people were like, oh, I didn't like it because of XYZ. Just because I'm curious, because we all seem very fond of it.
Yeah, there was a couple of reviews that I found. I'll link them in our description on the on YouTube. And you can have a look at the reviews, but I'll send you them as well, Tel, so you can have a read.
Just
But
really
yeah, there
curious.
were a few. I mean, I think a lot of people did like it, but the ones that I found, yeah, they weren't like, I thought it was a generally quite like liked film, but
Yeah.
yeah, don't know. Interesting.
The one is from Ethan Gordon. I'm on Rotten Tomatoes. The juxtaposition of cute kids, Miss Caroline's incessant cheerfulness, and the occasional musical number against the darker aspects doesn't quite work. Which I'd argue it kind of does, though. Like, I like that. Again, I think, I can't remember what the film was, but we've said that before, where like something really horrible is happening, but there's some really cheery music going on. I just kind of love that contrast.
Yeah, I like that too.
So, is it a complete disaster? No, but for what it is worth, Little Monsters should have been better than we got. But again, I quite like it. Viz closer to a yawn. There is a lot of positive as well. Like, just bear in mind, though, as you say, Katie, because I think it was like 79%, but I'm just trying to find just what people didn't like.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people might have been thinking it was maybe a higher budget than what it actually was.
Maybe. I don't know. But I don't think it looks too low budget. Like, some films you can
I don't think
really
it does at
tell.
all.
Yeah, some films you can spot a mile away. This one I was like, okay. Yeah, you could have got, I think, yeah. I don't
They
know.
said that they like thought that she was quite wasted in the film, but I just don't agree with that. I think like there was so much, like she was serious at points, like that it was really good, like she was funny at points. Like I felt like it wasn't like that at all.
Again, I think you have to remember this was over a day or 2 days. Like, there wasn't going to be like a personal arc or personal growth story for every character, because
No,
like
it was mainly focusing on Dave.
It was mainly
in that
focusing,
sense.
yeah, but also for her, I think until she gets away from the kids, she isn't going to have that moment to breathe, to break down, to do what she needs to do. She is still right up, and even at the end, she's still singing to the kids in the bubble. Her focus is those kids. So if they did a sequel and she got back home, you would see, her processing it in a very different story. But her entire thing, and I think any teacher is going to be the same, where you put all of your shit aside and you deal with the kids and you do what you have to do. So I think it's very hard to be like, oh, but she was wasted. I'm like, yeah, but it's very realistic to that scenario.
Yeah.
Like, there was one moment where she was like trying to take a deep breath because she had one kid screaming, and then the little girl was like, Felix is gone, and she couldn't react because she still had 10 kids to keep calm. So I think it was very realistic. Yes, she probably, the writers could have given her an amazing arc and all this, but it wouldn't have been true to a teacher on a school trip in a crisis.
Yeah.
Especially with no phones, so they couldn't call him back up. Like,
it was one when the little girls was like, oh, I don't want to play this game anymore.
I don't want to play this game anymore. It makes no sense and the zombies look fake.
So the zombies aren't very realistic.
yeah. Like, who did you hire?
I wonder if that's like a self-aware thing. I mean, I thought the zombies looked good, but
I thought they look good. I think it was just, I don't know what she wanted from those zombies.
Yeah, I don't know. She wanted more, clearly. But I don't know
Apparently
what more.
I wonder if that was a jab at the makeup department.
Yeah, I think it might have been.
So it's too low budget. But again, I think the zombies are good enough. Like
I think they did.
They'd been ripping animals apart. There was one bit where like you could see a guy's ribs. And I did think that was a bit like it didn't look bad, but for me that bit looked a bit obviously fake because I was like, I just don't think they'd look that well in like it wouldn't look that well intact if your skin had been ripped off like that. But again, I think that's me just picking.
Yeah, but you're in an SFX mind. You're like,
Yeah.
I could have done that better.
Yeah, maybe. Well, again, maybe not. But like, I get it was weird because, as I said, I was like, you could almost use this as an intro horror to be like, look, it's not that gory. But then, realistically, they swear so much. This isn't an intro horror. You couldn't show this to a fucking kid.
No, there's a lot of bad language in it.
Maybe a
I think-
teenager.
Yeah, I'd say like a young teenager, like a 13, 14-year-old that's just
Yeah.
discovered the word fuck or shit or something.
And now
They'll be
they're
like,
gonna
oh my
learn.
God, this is great.
And now they're gonna
Let me
learn.
go and say that all the time at school when I'm walking home from school and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And people think I'm well hard.
Oh, it's definitely going to teach them a few phrases.
Hmm.
But anything else to add on it before we get to the big questions?
I think so.
I haven't got much to add on this one.
No.
No, it's just pretty good.
Yeah. Well, in that case, do we think we'd survive a day at Death Farm or whatever they're calling it?
I think if I was with Miss Caroline, I would.
Yeah, if Miss Caroline was my teacher, then I'd be fine.
Yeah, basically, that is my answer. So it basically is a nothing answer.
No, it's not, because she's a character in the film. What would be your weapon of choice? Because bear in mind, they didn't have a lot of weapons of choice.
Ukulele.
Yeah, you smash up the ukulele. I love the fact it was all like farm equipment. I thought that was great. Whereas like a
Mm.
spade and a fork, I thought it was great.
Yeah, the fork is a good one.
Mm.
It's quite like heavy though. It's not like nice and like light and simple. There's a lot of admin with the big.
Also, when she pushed it into the zombie, it went in quite easily. And I was like, these zombies aren't like decaying.
No, they're like fresh.
Yeah, so it shouldn't have. I feel like it shouldn't have gone in that easy. Otherwise, I'm never using a pitchfork again. Oh my God, sorry. This is like scratching on my wire.
I feel like there's probably a few, like quite a lot of farm related injuries that happen, and probably pitchforks I reckon could impale a stomach or a foot or two quite
So
easily.
There's always a running joke that if a farmer ever ends up at the hospital or calls an ambulance, it's fucking bad, because a farmer, like the amount of accidents that happens on a farm, that
Oh,
farmers will just
God.
deal with it themselves.
Mm.
So if they actually do get to a hospital, you know it's gone fucking
It's gonna
horribly
be
wrong.
bad.
Something's gone bad. So yes, maybe I shouldn't be playing with pitchforks.
Yeah, how many pitchforks do you have in your flat, Hel?
No, I'm kidding.
For
None
the
yet.
demon.
For the demon. Charlie, what about you? Are you surviving?
Yeah, I feel like this is quite an easy one to survive. It's slow zombies. It's on a farm. I reckon, I don't know, I feel like I could escape quite easily, or survive at least.
See, I feel like the same, because they are quite slow zombies, but at the same time, only those school kids and like 3 adults survive. Everyone else gets turned. So, but again, like we say, they are small. They are very slow zombies. So I feel like I could survive them. There's definitely harder zombies out there to try.
Yeah,
and
there's
fight.
like 28 days later, kind of like, I know I keep referring to that, but that's the only one I can think of with like fast zombies. I'm sure
World
there's
War Z.
more. Oh yeah, I've not seen that.
What?
Yeah, I've not seen it.
Oh, it's terrible.
Oh,
But
I'm not
that's
missing
another
out on
one
much
for
then.
another day.
But yeah, it's often the slow ones, like the ones. I just thought I'd demonstrate for you guys in case
Thank-
you didn't know what I was talking about.
Cheers.
Thank you.
Cheers, bro.
But again,
You're
also,
welcome.
I'd just be like, clap your hands, fall on the floor, and I trip them
Yeah,
over.
I think your tactic of doing that
Yeah.
would allow. That means I think you would survive, Tal, because I'm answering your question for you, but I think
got a plan.
you would,
Yeah,
because
we've
you
got
have a plan. Yeah. I think that would work.
Yeah, I think it would because they're idiots.
Yeah. You can control idiots.
Okay, well, what are we rating this out of 5? What's our favorite spooky moment? Charlie, I'll come to you first because I came to Katie first just then.
Yeah, I'm going to rate this a 3.5 out of 5. It's not my favorite film, but at the same time, like, it is a nice, easy watch, and it's easy to go back to. I do feel like there is moments where characters could just be a bit of oomph, be nice. But yeah, no, I feel like it's a pretty solid film. And as you said, okay, it's a nice intro to horror. And then my favorite spooky moment, I'm stuck between the Darth Vader like closing of the gate thing with the goat, like, love that. And also when they get to get reunited with their parents, it's like, it's so wholesome, it's so lovely. But yeah, I mean, also Mr. Giggles' death, I've got to throw that in there because
It's
that
like
was
one favorite moment. Not
I
three.
just fuck it. I love them all, but yeah, an array. It's an array of emotions, so they're all my favorite moments.
Katie, what about you?
I'm going to give it 3.5 as well. I think that's a pretty fair score. I think like it is a really decent film, but I would watch it again. It's like a good comfort film and it's a good pizza party film. But yeah, it's not the best in the world, but it is fun. And my spooky moment, I think actually is going to be Mr. Giggles' death, because I think it was the most violent, and it was quite satisfying because like we'd given him so many chances at this point to be like a good human, and it just wasn't happening. And I quite like just that he started as he meant to go on, just always a dickhead. And I just thought, yeah, fair fucks. What about you, Tal?
I'm going to agree with you actually. 3.5. I think, as you said, it's fun. It's a good watch, but yeah, it's not my top.
Yeah.
But I think my favorite moment is going to be like I mentioned it earlier when Miss Caroline has the seashell into Mr. Giggles. It's all against Mr. Giggles, really, isn't it? But I just love that she has that other side to her. Like, she's happy-go-lucky, but then she's like, I will cut you if you threaten my kid's safety.
Yeah.
And
nice.
I love that switch. So I think that's really good. Amazing. Nice. Well, that was our Little Monsters episode. Catch us on the socials so you can see what we're going to be talking about next week, so you can watch and follow along. Catch us on everywhere. We're all over social medias and wherever you listen to your podcasts, and we're on YouTube. So like, subscribe, review, and help us keep going. Until then, bye.
Bye.
Don't die. I'm going to be like, peacekeepers.
Oh, Mr. Giggles will get you.
Wait. I mean, he might get you.
A zombie might.
Mr. Giggles will fuck your mum.